Welcome, welcome, welcome to yet another edition of Red Carpet to Trailer Trash. My name is Ian Collins, and joining me as always is Mr. Connor Rock.
That's me. Hello. How are you doing, Ian?
Oh, I'm just peachy keen. How are you this fine evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, not much news over here. We're recording late. I'm a little tired, but I got this nice big old cup of coffee that I'm drinking through a straw again. So
Excuse me?
I drink coffee through a straw when we record, so I don't like make slurping noises. I thought I'd talk to you about this.
You have not spoken to me about this. How does this work? Won't the heat melt the plastic straw?
Well, how hot do you think I drink my coffee?
I don't know. But like,
It's iced coffee. It's been in the fridge.
okay, that's different then.
It's only sometimes hot coffee, and that's when I burnt my mouth. I could have sworn I talked about this, but no, it's not like fucking 4 million degree coffee.
I mean, it only has to be like 110, 120 degrees, which is not an unreasonable temperature for coffee.
It is if you're McDonald's or that one lady who had to get a new crotch.
Yeah, no. I think you were the one that was telling me that was actually, like, it was excessively hot, and so
Yeah,
it was completely reasonable for her to sue them for that.
yeah. Everybody like points to that case as like people frivolously suing big old corporations to get a lot of money, and the reality is like she literally had to get skin grafted from her or skin grafts from her back like put onto her inner thighs. And she only asked McDonald's for her medical bills, and they were like, no. And then they went to court, and she got like $3 million or something.
Basically, it was a fuck you.
I mean, yeah, like the court system just ruled extremely in her favor, which they should have because the coffee was like ridiculously hot, and just like you shouldn't be serving customers that hot of coffee, regardless if it was like secured or she dropped it or
Yeah.
whatever.
The
But yeah,
idea that
that's
you're gonna
a
give someone something that's so hot that it will literally burn their skin off
yeah, it
seems a bit
was.
excessive.
There's a documentary about that and like a few other cases that are like people cite as being, like the like what I just said, like people trying to get money out of companies. But they
Yep.
talk about that and they showed pictures of her legs and don't ever look that up because it's
Oh.
horrifying.
Oh. What's this documentary called?
I don't remember. I watched it in like when I was 15, maybe it was like sophomore year of high school.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Did you know that the one I actually point to isn't that one? Mostly because I think you told me about that, but also because I found one that was more ridiculous, which was that Red Bull got sued because for false advertising because their energy drink didn't literally make it so that you would sprout wings.
Wait, and they lost that?
I don't know if they lost it. I
Okay.
I think they did, but like it was one of those where like they only gave $1 or something or like legal costs because they were like technically you're correct, but also are you fucking mental?
Yeah, like no reasonable person would think that
Yeah.
that you actually got wings.
Yeah,
But
but
here's here's
that's why if you see their ads, it no longer says it gives you wings. It says it gives you wings with like a bunch of eyes because they can say that that is not a real word, and so the idea that that is true is false
I
because
didn't know that.
they're reading into something that isn't there.
Yeah, I realized I noticed when they changed it, but I didn't realize why. Here is a fun little tip for you though. If you have a legitimate case against a company or even like kind of, you should try to take it to court because chances are they will settle.
Yes.
Is nothing pays out more than negative publicity.
Well, it's also the fact that you never want things to go to court because the idea that you're putting your financial future in the hands of 12 idiots that weren't able to get out of jury duty is not a great
Yeah.
sign because
Especially with like current American sentiment of like fuck corporations.
yeah,
Juries always go for the, well, not always, but they tend to lean towards the little guy.
yeah, because all the plaintiff has to do is give the idea that you would also be in that situation as
Yeah.
a member of the jury.
Yep.
Which wouldn't have worked for me in the McDonald's coffee one, because who in God's name gets their fucking coffee from McDonald's?
You don't like well, actually, I can't speak to McDonald's coffee. I don't know. I feel like if you're on like a road trip, you get your coffee from McDonald's. Other than that,
Dude, spend the extra 30 cents and get it from Dunkin'.
I haven't seen one Dunkin' Donuts
Ex-
except for the okay, no, I've seen Dunkin' Donuts, but there's no Dunkin' Donuts in my usual like the part of the country that I'm always roaming. I don't know how to phrase that better. It's just staying.
okay, but that just means you don't live in a great. They have a Dunkin' Donuts in Parkersburg.
Really?
Yes,
I don't think they have one. Like not in Cumberland. Did Morgantown have a Dunkin'?
it was right next to the stadium.
There was a Dunkin' Donuts in Morgantown.
Yes,
There's a
it was.
Starbucks.
No, the Dunkin' Donuts was right next to that shitty taco Wings Olay. It was near there, next to Kegler's.
Oh, damn. I didn't know. All right, well, so I have been around a Dunkin' Donuts. I do live like 30 feet from a Starbucks right now, though, so.
Yeah, that too. Like
I don't know.
if you just get coffee from Starbucks, it's only like $1.80.
Is that. I don't know. We are always, like, when we get coffee from the Starbucks here, we order it online so we can make, like, one, we don't have to say the fucking nonsense they want you to say when you order a coffee there. And two,
Well, that's because
uh,
you're ordering like an espresso drink. You're not ordering a coffee. If you
yeah, I guess it's just like a regular black coffee, isn't that? I think it was like something at law school, but I got big one or something. I don't know. We're not here to talk about Starbucks coffee prices. I
I
don't
don't
think,
know. We've
unless
been doing this sort of shit for like 10 minutes now.
do we? What's this?
It's been
Did we take a
7
turn
minutes.
on the? The podcast is no longer about movies. Talking about
How long
coffee.
was it really?
How long was what really?
How long was it really about movies?
Oh, never. It stopped being about movies about 40 seconds into the first episode.
Yeah, no. We basically use movies as the medium for us to bullshit for 45 minutes, and that is
Yeah.
our secret to having 0 viewers.
We have one viewer. One I see you. You're seen. It might be two now actually. But
Hot damn.
yeah, it's well, I think we've talked about viewer on here before. I can't remember what we talk around on and off air. It's very unprofessional, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
Uh,
we're almost essentially talking only to ourselves at this point.
these are just the conversation logs that we have.
Yes.
But hey,
Well,
let's.
since we never really get on those calls on Wednesday anymore, it's not like we'd see each other any other way.
That's true. We have been lacking. The listener can know we play D&D. Don't call them our Wednesday calls. Ian and I are in a D&D game.
Yes. Well, we're on several,
I
two.
guess several. Yeah, I don't know. If you count the detectives and then the third, so maybe three, but it's the same group of
Let's be
people. It doesn't
perfectly
matter.
real. Let's be real though. It is not real D&D. It's us using D&D as like a framework for us to bullshit around for 2 hours.
It's like this podcast, but instead of movies, we're D&Ding.
Occasionally we roll some dice while also just completely bullshitting around. It allows Jacoby to pretend to murder people.
Because it gives him an avenue for his violence.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Okay, so here's a quick tangent that I hope I'll explain real quick for the listener. So our DM just threw in. You remember the toads from last 2 weeks ago? Whenever
Yeah.
our DM just threw in these random toads they showed up. They're toads. They showed up one day, and one of our players, Kate, I mentioned her. She was just like the whole fucking session. She just investigated these toads who just kept coming up as normal toads. And we were watching Always Sunny the other day. And have you watched a lot of Always Sunny?
I've seen a few episodes.
Well, there's like the one episode where they're going to the wedding and they get stuck in the woods. And Frank like sees the rabbit and they just have like a staring contest and he thinks he sees his soul in it. And we were watching that and Kate was like, "That was me with those toads." All right, well that's enough of the. This is just stories that people don't care about.
Boy, we really took we took at least 10 minutes before we even mentioned that today's episode we're going to be talking about The Gentleman and looking ahead to this weekend's releases of Gretel and Hansel and the rhythm section.
Yes, that is what we're doing. And I don't know. We've been bullshitting enough. Let's do what we're supposed to do a little bit and talk about movies. Tell me about The Gentleman.
Well, The Gentleman is the latest film from Guy Ritchie. It is a British gangster film starring Matthew McConaughey, and Charlie Hunnam is the supporting actor. It is actually a story that's told via a private investigator explaining the events that have taken place over the past few days, in which a local man of Chinese descent is trying to move in on Matthew McConaughey's marijuana distribution business in the United Kingdom, while Matthew McConaughey is attempting to get out of the business and sell his business to a an American fellow.
So he does want out in the movie.
Yes.
See, I predicted he was like trying to hold on.
No.
He just doesn't want to sell to the Chinese guy.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Because the Chinese guy does not offer him enough money.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And so a lot of the things that take place are sort of, you'll see a scene that doesn't actually happen because it's being played up for dramatic effect, because it's a story being told by the private investigator
Okay.
to Charlie Hunnam, who is Matthew McConaughey's second, like his right-hand man. And so it's just going through the rounds of what's going on there. And then at one point in this, a local boxing gym coach owner, played by Colin Farrell, some of his students decide that they're going to get involved in this in a way. And I don't want to give away how they get involved, but that's what his connection to all of this is.
Okay.
And so this is the Guy Ritchie just has a knack for making very entertaining dialogue. Like at one point, there's a discussion in the boxing gym, in which case one of the people that get involved, he's a large African American fella, and another one of the people at the gym tells him that, yells at him to get into the ring to spar, and in doing so refers to him as a black cunt. And so then there's this just little diatribe of like this little back and forth between Colin Farrell and the large African American, or he wouldn't be African American, the large black fellow, because he's
'Cause this
British.
is in Britain. Yeah.
And
I
so
think it's 2020. We can say black. I think that's cool.
I just wanted to have it differentiated so that when I said black cunt, it sort of stood out.
Yeah, I guess it's fair.
And so he said, "Oi, he can't do that." He can't do what? He just called me a black cunt. He's like, well, you are black and you are a cunt. So you can't get upset with him for just speaking the truth. It's like, but that's racist. I would actually argue that he's saying so in a more of a manner of camaraderie than any sort of ill will intended in this manner. And just this sort of back and forth that's going on. It has nothing to do with the story, and it's not important at all, but it's just very funny and humorous and entertaining while it's going on. And that sort of stuff is happening while the private investigator is talking to the right-hand man, like in the background, like in the basic scene, like the present day scene of what's going on. That sort of
Okay.
stuff's happening, and it's just a lot of time. A lot of scenes are just over the top, and so that's really what the appeal of it is.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was just like it would be a good, entertaining, like the right amount of comedy, the right amount of violence, the right amount is like, it was just a good mix of a movie. And I haven't seen, as I said last week, any other Guy Ritchie films. So I don't know if that's like what he's, what he goes for every time. That's his.
It was very much. It did seem very much like his first film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I have yet to see Snatch, which I understand to be his best film, and so I still need to go. I still need to watch that. I think it's on Netflix, but he just knows how to make a quality British gangster film.
All right. And
Did
then
you
how was
did you have any
what?
questions about it?
I was gonna ask how was old McConaughey? Just delivered like as usual, or
He was good. He wasn't as like funny as he usually is. There were scenes where he was a lot more aggressive, but he was still just as charming as usual.
yeah, okay. See, I don't know how I feel about him as an actor. Like
I think he has
he's
the potential to do really well, and he also has the potential to just fuck around and just have a garbage showing.
yeah, I don't know. I've never like how has he won awards?
He won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club.
Yes, okay. So I don't know. He's somewhat celebrated, somewhat made fun of. Like he's in this weird middle ground, and I don't know. I guess I haven't seen more of his serious roles like Dallas Buyers Club, Lincoln Lawyer, or whatever else the hell he's in.
Hmm
So I know him from like rom coms mostly.
Inception is also good. I think he's in Inception. No, Interstellar.
He...
Interstellar is the one I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
looking
yeah.
for.
As I say, I don't know if he's in Inception, but yeah, I haven't seen Interstellar either. It just like came and went and passed me by, and I've never went back for it. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn
Very
on how
trippy
I
movie.
feel. Yeah, that's what it apparently has a lot of the themes of like. Did you ever read it's either pronounced Hyperion or Hyperion, just depending on who you talk to, by Dan Simmons.
I have not.
It's like I don't know how old it is, but it's a really good science fiction story. But it explores a lot of the same concepts, like how years on some planets are faster or slower. And, like you come back and your kid's like 80, or like how when you're in like hypersleep, your bank account gets like frozen, so you can't just accumulate interest by like flying around,
Yeah.
and like a lot of stuff like that. Apparently, that what are we talking about? Interstellar touched on. Really good book. I'd recommend it. It's a little like wordy than it needs to be, but I think that's just a product of the time. Anyway, Matthew
I'd rather
McConaughey.
that than it be one of those YA novels where it has a cool concept and then the writing is just absolute garbage.
Oh yeah, you mean like every single one?
Yeah. You know which one I'm especially talking about?
No.
The Maze
Is
Runner.
yeah, I never read it. I watched the first movie, which was kind of balls.
Yeah, the movie
Um,
wasn't very good. The story itself was interesting, but the writing was such garbage. It was painful to get through. And it was one of those things where I just read it because, like, I had started it and I wanted to finish it.
yeah. Or you can have novels like Ender's Game that are
Ender's
really
Game
cool,
is awesome. I
and
love
then they get
Ender's Game.
adapted into a movie that ruins the whole fucking premise of it in the trailers.
Yep.
That pissed me off because that was a great book.
That
Uh,
twist was awesome, too.
yeah, it really was. Like that's one of the most I don't know memorable twists that I can think of in like reading history.
Mm-hmm.
And then the trailers for the movie were just like, it's all in this kid's mind, or like it's all a simulation or whatever the hell I don't know
Yeah.
if they adapted it or not. But yeah, that sucked. Oh,
Yep.
speaking. Hold on, I'm gonna go on a quick. Let me. I saw it finally. I
Oh,
had
you
some
did?
things to say about it, but we can get through the normal thing and we can shove it in at the end if we need to.
We can do it in Connor's Spooky Corner.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I reserve like 5 minutes of spooky?
Yes, Connor's Spooky Corner. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to see The Turning yet, but I did finish Turn of the Screw on the note
Oh,
of. And so I'll talk about that during Connor's Spooky Corner also. But
Okay,
did
yeah,
you have
I'll.
any other questions about the gentleman?
No, not really. I mean, I think that I think it's really you get what you expect unless you have something totally different. But I mean, it looks like a fun, good movie.
It's very much like British. It's British, witty, charming. A lot of like very visual jokes that happen. Charlie Hunnam is spectacular in it. He's the guy that plays the right hand man. He's
Yeah,
excellent. Loved every second he was on the screen.
yeah, he did look really good in the trailers. I think that I don't know, just something about like his features plus his beard, maybe. I don't know. It made him very like I wanted more.
Yep. And so next we can move on to the previews.
All right, which one do we want to talk about first?
Let's, since we decided to add an impromptu Connor Spooky Corner, let's start with the rhythm section.
That makes sense. And we'll go spooky. So, good old the rhythm section. I had not even kind of heard about this movie until you told me about it today.
It is based off
Um,
of a book, by the way.
I think I did see that, and I haven't heard of the book either. But it's so who is it? It's not Kate Hudson. Blake Lively. Blake Lively's family is killed in like a plane bombing, which
Some terrorist attack, yeah.
yeah, which I think one I just in the trailer I watched, this stuck out to me because somebody goes out of their way to like tell her that the death of her family wasn't an accident, and but then like she's hunting down the guy who made the bombs. So either one, that's just like a stupid cliche line that they decided to throw in there, or two, it's very clearly talking about like paid terrorism, Bush did 9/11, that kind of nonsense. So I don't know.
Really,
I think
I thought it was more along the lines of it wasn't like an accident in the sense that they happened to be on that plane that blew up. It was that plane blew up because they were on it.
like it was targeting her family.
Yes, that's how I interpreted
Okay,
that.
I guess it could be that way too. I took it to be one of the other two, but you're right. You're throwing in a third. I can get behind that too, I suppose. I guess we'd have to know more about her family to know why. But first it struck me that I was like, yeah, of course it wasn't an accident. Like the plane blew up. It wasn't like mechanical failure brought it down or whatever. So
It's not the
her,
Malaysian airline that went into a black hole.
yeah, just fucking. I mean, it's in the ocean somewhere.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
it
know.
definitely just crashed in the ocean.
I don't know if people forget. It's like I've had this talk with you before about the Bermuda Triangle, right? People lose their shit there because like ships disappear, but they're in the bottom of the ocean. Like we didn't check there. We
I
know
don't think we've
exactly
had this
where.
discussion, but we're on the same page on this. There's nothing weird or creepy about the Bermuda Triangle. It's just a place where a lot of tropical storms are, and the water and the winds are very unsafe.
I think there actually is something. It's not like supernatural, but it's some like chemical or like sea gas there that will interfere with radars.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like something pseudo reasoning. I mean, besides all the like the storms, obviously that
Yeah.
makes the ships crash. But it's not like they just disappear to some like otherworldly purgatory. They're at the bottom of the ocean. I can tell you where every single fucking one is. Anyway, so Blake Lively finds out that her family has been like attacked or by this bomber or whatever, and she decides to hunt him down with the help of Jude Law. And I love Jude Law, but I gotta say this movie looks generic as fuck. It's just like Taken or any just Taken-esque type movie, like someone hunting down a bunch of people doing things they never thought they could, like developing into like a killer type character. I guess that doesn't really fit Taken because he was already a badass, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It just seems
I,
extremely generic.
I disagree on you that it's generic. I mean, the if you strip it down to its core plot, yes, it's generic. But if you strip anything down to its core plot, it's probably going to be something generic like that. And so, but I think that this is different because it's something where it isn't like brand new. It is there is a genre existing, but this is different in that it is a woman taking advantage, and it doesn't look like they're just going to say she's some badass that can fuck up anyone she sees. She does require a bit of stealth, and this is
Yeah.
like personal, so it's not the atomic blonde where she's just some random person coming in that has all these super spy moves. Or what was the one with Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't know.
I will effort that while
Uh,
you
Jennifer
finish.
Lawrence was in a super spy movie where she.
Yes, Red Sparrow. That's what it was called.
I did. I don't think I've ever even heard of it.
Okay.
But, but all right, I'll take your word for it. But okay, so I guess there's a movie. It was on Netflix. It was about Kevin Bacon like fighting a gang because they did that thing like back when people like gang members would have their initiations and like drive around without their headlights on, and then anyone who flashed them, they'd go make their recruits like kill them.
Yep.
His son got killed in like that accident type deal, and then Kevin Bacon just goes like from like accountant to hunting down this gang. And
That's
I guess
like
I don't know.
that's like Death Wish.
Yeah, maybe it could be that. I don't know. I don't. I've seen it once and I forgot the title, but it just reminded me a lot of that. And I don't know. I'm sure there will be. You're right. It's like a little different. It's definitely not Taken. It's Taken-esque, and I don't know. It did not strike my fancy.
It is most certainly not going to be winning any awards, but I think that it has the potential to be entertaining. I think it has the potential to be like a middle range, like decent action movie.
Yeah, it at least in terms of like it does seem very real as well. Like her, you're right. She's not just gonna be a whatever you called it. I forget the name. Mary Sue, Molly Sue.
Mary Sue, yeah.
Yeah. And then I like what we've seen of the Jude Law character as like grizzled old instructor. I guess not like old, but you know,
Yeah.
like he's seen some things.
Yes.
So I like the actors. I think the chemistry will be good. I was unimpressed by the premise of the story.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
Just
But it's one of the few. It's the only movie besides Gretel and Hansel that's coming out this weekend. So
well, no, I
it's.
mean we'll talk about it. It's oh you mean you think it'll do pretty good?
I think it'll do fine. Mostly because it's something that people will go to because instead of this, I think that the movies that really benefit from this slow weekend are going to be 1917, Bad Boys for Life, and then The Gentleman.
Just people catching up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that because I mean, Bad Boys for Life is probably the one that's most likely to lose out for the rhythm section because it's more of an action movie. But 1917, it's that war movie. It's got a lot of hype. That'll probably do fine. And then The Gentleman is more of like an action comedy sort of thing. It seems like it's more of its own separate thing.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of
But
action
yeah, I mean,
movies coming out in the last 3 weeks, though.
because you gotta go see him before Valentine's Day. I don't know why.
I gotta tell you, I think this Valentine's Day it's gonna be rough.
Well, I don't. Well, I guess we'll talk. What is coming out this Valentine's Day?
There's some romantic comedies that look like just a pile of utter garbage.
Is the one with Will Smith running away from an avalanche? Not Will Smith, Will Ferrell. Have you seen that trailer yet?
I have not seen that trailer.
I just popped up on Hulu today and like won't go away. I've watched it like 45 times. And I think it's based on like an actual viral video of like there's an avalanche coming down the mountain and some dad just like leaves his kids and wife and fucking hauls ass out of there. And now he's played by Will Smith, like trying to earn back the respect of his kids after leaving them to die in an avalanche.
Will Ferrell?
Not Will. Well, yeah, I don't know why I keep saying Will Smith.
Will Ferrell was one of the funniest. I think we've discussed this before. Will Ferrell is one of the funniest actors for like a decade, and then everything since has been such garbage.
Yeah, I don't know. I was never a big fan. Like, I liked Elf.
Elf, Anchorman,
Oh
old
yeah, Anchorman
school,
was really good.
old
Yeah, Anchorman
school,
and Old School. Yeah. I think just like
Ricky
everything.
Bobby,
See,
Step Brothers, the other
I didn't.
guys.
I like the other guys. I didn't like Ricky Bobby or Step Brothers. I don't know why. I've watched them again, I've never seen Semi Pro. Maybe it's good,
Semi
but I
Pro
just
is probably on the lower end of that. He also had two dramatic movies in that range as well. Stranger Than Fiction and uh,
everything must go.
yeah, that's the one.
That I actually really like that movie, and I watched that, and that's when I was like, all right, Will Ferrell can do it. Like I thought it was really good. Um, but yeah, so that's I think that movie, the Avalanche movie, is coming out Valentine's Day. I don't know. But what's coming out this weekend that we're going to talk about now is Hansel and Gretel, or Gretel and They reversed
Other
it. Like
way.
yeah, I don't know. Just just call it Hansel and Gretel. I don't know why they're not. And this is from I think the trailer says the story you all know has a secret, and I gotta tell you, I could not give less of a shit about what that secret is. This is a fine little Grimm Brothers fairy tale. Um, it's been made, adapted, remade like at least twice before this. Because there was that one that was like just regular, and then there was the one with like Jeremy Renner, and they were like witch hunters. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah, I
talking
forgot
about?
about that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's it is what it is. It's just a horror movie based on a grim fairy tale that's been told and retold. And now they're gonna change it up with maybe like Gretel being magic or something is the idea I got from the trailer, but I don't really give a shit. I don't think it looks that good. I'm not gonna see it.
Yeah, this looks like a steaming pile of garbage. I disagree in the sense that I think it is. I am curious to see what sort of twist and addition they put on this to make it last a full runtime, but not enough to pay money to go see it, and also not enough to see it for free. Um,
Yeah,
my
I
my my time is worth more than spending it watching this. It is worth the amount of time it takes for me to read the Wikipedia about what the plot entails, and that's what I will
that's
do to figure out what goes on with this. This movie looks like such a heaping pile of trash.
yeah. I was assuming that they would fill the time with, they would spend their like more time at the witch's house in the process of her fattening them up or like whatever little string she's trying to put on Gretel, because it seems like she's trying to get her to do something to eat her brother or whatever. So I thought they would just spend some time there, build a little tension with that, capitalize on some like horror elements. But I don't know what the runtime is, but if it's longer than 90 minutes, it can't be longer than 90 minutes. I don't know.
Oh, I
We could
hope
look
this
it
is
up, but
like
nah.
2 hours
It's
just because of that statement.
that's yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it. I don't think it's gonna be that good. Um, if you want to
It is
do
87 minutes runtime.
nice. So yeah, I don't know. They have the beginning of them like getting kicked out of their home and then seeing spooky stuff in the woods, and then a little bit of time at the witch's house and the climax or the build up to the climax of all this nonsense happening and whatever, and then I don't know. I've lost interest in my sentence. I've
Yeah.
definitely lost interest in this movie.
Okay. But we will take this opportunity to transition from that into Connor's spooky corner.
Hell yeah, it's a return of the spooky corner. And so we just watched it, chapter 2. And I gotta say, like, there was just something lacking. And I can't exactly put my finger on it. I think maybe it just didn't. like translate as well. Like it felt too much like a sequel, or like maybe with the adults it just wasn't as.
There
I
wasn't
just
there wasn't nearly the chemistry amongst the adults that there was amongst the child actors.
yeah,
Is what I thought it was.
I think that could be it. I think Bill Hader did really good, and the guy who played Eddie did really good. I've never been a fan of James McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I saw him in Wanted, and I was like, this is it for him. And then he was like in X-Men. He was in this. He was in whatever that M Night Shyamalan movie was. I don't get him, but that's fine. And I think they did horrible with the casting for Ben. Like nothing personal about that guy, but like I know he's supposed to like become like a hot architect or whatever, but I feel like it was
Yeah.
just over the top, and that guy was kind of just like a slab. Like it was like a hot slab they just threw into the role.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that.
That all being said, it just felt like a watered down version of the first one. Like it wasn't as funny, it wasn't as scary. The only legitimately scary thing I think is when Pennywise is talking to that little girl under the bleachers,
Oh
and
yeah.
like he just stops and stares slack jawed for like 30 seconds before he eats her or whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
that
he's
is
like
like
just the only thing that's happening is drool dripping out of his mouth.
yeah, and like his eyes are doing the weird thing, and it's just like that was one haunting image, and the rest of it, I don't know. And then like their CGI looks like the budget for their CGI went down. All the creatures were just like there was like the tall lady who looked like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, and then like the leper again, which when Eddie's choking the leper and then it throws up, and like the 6 seconds of whatever song that plays, that just took me straight out of the movie. I was like, I get you're
Oh
trying to be
yes.
funny here, but it's just it felt like you were trying too hard.
Yeah, like
Um,
that was probably the biggest problem is that when Bill Hader wasn't making the jokes, anything that was supposed to be funny just took you directly out of the movie.
yeah, yeah, it really did. And the last thing I think I'll say is I agree with you now. I think this was your biggest problem is how dumb how they defeat it is. Because I get that like they had to do something and it's sort of true to the book. You've read the book more recently. Isn't it like they do the ritual Chud again and like Bill goes into like the shadow world or whatever and then like has the battle of wills with him there?
No, that happens the first time around. The second time around, people, I think Ritchie has to help him.
Yeah, okay, or whatever it is, but like they do the same thing, and that's when they see Martin or Moritan the turtle, like
Yeah,
he's dead then.
yeah.
So, like, I get they had to do something because like a battle of like that would kind of be boring to play out. But just having the people just yell at him, being like, "You're a clown! You're a clown! You're a clown!" That just it was just awkward. It was cringy to me. I hated it.
It was somehow worse than just having it be the fist fight with children beat him in the first run.
I'll stand by this. I will die on this hill. I thought they did that. They adapted it better than the book because it was like both. Because the whole thing was like you had to be not afraid of him, right? So
Exactly. That makes more sense than whatever bullshit they pulled in the second book
yeah, I
or in
would
the
have
second
rather.
movie. The book itself, I think, made more sense just within itself because it's a fucking alien from that's able to shapeshift and stuff. So the idea that they could beat him in a fist fight is ridiculous on its face. That is
No,
my
yeah,
opinion.
but I did like the combination allowed them, to do that. Like his ship didn't
Yes.
have power over him. Like I thought the movie did it. I liked it better than the book.
Hmm.
But this one was just like he should have been like I know, like I transformed into a clown. Like this I chose this and then just get him with the stabby hands, which his stabby hands had reach sometimes but didn't other times. Like there were limits on how extendo his arms could get. It I don't know. I did not love it. Um, I really hope that they do.
I thought it was decent. I thought that Bill Hader did a good job. Jessica Chastain, I think that's who played Bev, did a good job, and I liked James McAvoy. I thought that having I thought that the scene in the funhouse was also very good.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, I agree that that was definitely like the second best like Pennywise like spooky part of the movie, but at the same time, I don't know. I just didn't. I was like, yeah, he's gonna eat this kid now.
And then
Just
I also enjoyed like actually hearing from Pennywise during like when he was shit talking Ritchie, so Bill Hader's character.
yeah,
That was I liked seeing more Pennywise because I thought Bill Skarsgård did a great job
yeah,
as
yeah, and
Pennywise. And then I loved absolutely loved the scene with around the table where they were actually being like just interacting with each other. It was the only time that it felt like there was any chemistry amongst the people playing the adults.
see, I think there was I just got a little bit, but it also just felt like the writers didn't really know how to like have adult friends have a conversation because I feel like half of it was just like fuck you, I
Yeah.
fucked your mom, like so. But yeah, parts of it were good, and then I don't know, I didn't like any of the writing I think for Eddie except for when he like tells the Henry Bowers to get rid of his mullet. And I thought that was a pretty good line.
I think I told you before. What did you think of the scenes, the flashback scenes this time with the kids this time?
I see what you mean by like they look like Ben. I feel like he was the only one that was like noticeably different. And did it?
I think that Eddie was also noticeably taller, but Ben was obviously like it was out like it was a stark difference.
Yeah, did they like CGI his cheeks? His cheeks looked so unnatural.
I don't know.
All right, well that's you should when you see the movie again, pay attention. If you see the movie again, pay attention to his cheeks. Everybody out there too. It's I think they're unnatural. I
But
think they like had them.
I was always distracted in those because I hated what they did with Eddie's character as like the teenager this time around.
Oh yeah, it was just like he was annoying piece of shit, and that's his whole character.
Yeah, instead of him being like neurotic, he was just a whiny little bitch that was like annoying and not the type of person that you would want anywhere fucking near you.
Yeah. Also, what okay. I haven't read the book in a while, so you might be able to tell me if it's in there. But Richie being in love with Eddie, that just felt really out of place.
What?
What? Like he was in love with Eddie.
He loved Eddie, yes. Not in
Yeah.
love, he loved Eddie. Was that not
He
obvious?
yeah,
They were
but
very close friends the entire time.
the whole thing, like all of his flashlights or not flashlights, flashbacks, hinted him being closeted, and then he carves R plus E into the fence post. Like he had a crush on that man. D-
I didn't think about it that way, and that's not. I assumed it was. I didn't even think about that, honestly.
Oh really? That just I don't know. It felt like I thought they were like broadcasting
If
it.
that is what they were trying to put forward, that is most certainly not in the book.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it could have been just like I would have
Uh,
been on board with him being like he loved him as a friend.
that's sort
But
of what
then
how I had interpreted it. I didn't even kind of consider it being that he had a raging hard on for Eddie.
yeah, that's what I assumed when Pennywise was like, "I know your secret." I thought it was about him just being like gay. But then when he was like, "How would your friend feel?" or whatever about it, it made a lot more sense or whatever that line is when he like carved it into the fence. It does whatever. It felt weird to me, but maybe you're right. Maybe I'll have to watch it. Well, I'll definitely watch it again at some point, but I'll we'll reanalyze that at a later date.
But
All
it is
right, we
worth
have
noting that no, it was not in the book. The idea of him being hoping to be Eddie's gay lover.
yeah, well, there's just the kid orgy, and that was
Yeah.
enough.
Okay, also, just because you brought it up, you know the weirdest part about that entire section was, because I'm not sure if I mentioned
What?
it, the fact that they like it takes the time to go into detail to point out that Ben had the biggest dick of all the kids.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing that she's gonna end up with Ben
Yeah.
because he's got a big old kid dick. It's like, yeah, it's weird. That's Kate pointed this out too when we were watching. Imagine like, because they did more with like the memory loss, I think, in the movie than they did in the book. Like it's just kind of mentioned. But imagine like going to that Chinese restaurant for dinner and just remembering that you all fucked in the sewers when you were like 13. Like
Uh,
having that memory come back.
no, that the scene where it, the scene in the book where she realizes that happened, it was hysterically funny to read. It
Oh
was
shit, that happens in the. I didn't realize that they played
it
it out in the
like
book.
it's the adult version of Bev is like, oh my god, all of you. And Bill's like, all of us what? She's like, with all of you. He's like, what are you talking about, Bev? And then it cuts to because this is while they're in the sewers. Then it cuts to the, then it cuts to, like, the scene, like, it still builds up for, like, another 20 pages before it reaches that point. But just the fact that I knew it was coming made it so much funnier to read that.
I didn't realize that happened in the book. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I read it though. Oh, all right. Well, so we're getting a little long on time here. We can talk about the turning of the
Oh,
screw, turn
all
of
I
the
wanted to
screw.
say was Turn of the Screw, the book. I have no idea how they converted that into a movie because the climax to it does not lend itself very well to just like a cinematic adaptation.
So I spark noted this, so I don't know the exact climax of it, but I got like the gist. And I don't know, I got kind of excited with it because like isn't the whole point of it like you decide at the end, like you the reader, or you don't decide, but like it's left up to you to like figure out if she was seeing ghosts or just
If
an
she was
insane
insane or
person.
not,
Yeah.
I
So I don't
mean,
know. I felt like
not
that could.
really.
Oh really?
It's suggested throughout, but then the last line, unless the kid just has a fucking heart attack.
Oh, okay. So like the kids died. I didn't know like I don't know how
Yeah, spoiler alert. That is actually a spoiler. It's in the very last like 5 words in the novella are, his heart had stopped. His heart now dispossessed had stopped.
Okay. Well, yeah. I guess that'd be a little harder to move. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting.
But yes, the entire time I was questioning like, did is she actually seeing these ghosts or is she just a crazy person? And there are some people that still interpret it as she is still just crazy. But the that last line sort of lends itself towards she isn't just crazy, and also I think it there were more interesting. I thought there was going to be something more interesting to have happened because there was like an entire side storyline about why this kid had been kicked out of school, and nothing came of it.
Oh yeah, because doesn't she start and like the kid won't say why he got expelled or whatever?
Yeah, well, she doesn't ask him, and he doesn't mention it, and then they go like months, and he finally asks like, when is he going to go to school again? And then she like it. This is when it's like building towards the climax, and she ends up asking him like, why were you kicked out of school? And he's just like, oh, I was just said some stuff to other kids. It's like, what kind of
Okay.
stuff? It's like, oh, just regular stuff. And then they told the headmaster. It's like, dude, what are you even talking about? You don't even give a payoff for the one like sideline, the one side story you had. It's I thought it was gonna be like he actually The reason that they were seeing ghosts is because these kids were like secretly murderers that had killed the two the previous governess and the previous like dude, whoever he was that lived there, that worked there, and that they were trying to warn the governess that to get away from them, and that they had figured that out about the, and he must have like told someone that at school, but nope, that's not what happened.
Yeah. All right. Well, knowing all that, I have less hope for the movie.
I'm saying that like they had to dramatize it up a bit more for it to be more interesting, because like it built up a lot of suspense and like tension about like what's going to happen, and then I was just very disappointed in the climax because it ended so suddenly was the big problem.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Good horror is hard to write. I stand by that.
Yep.
Whew.
And
All
a
right.
good
Well,
horror is
let's.
and a good but a good horror is easy to ride.
No. All right. Are we ready to wrap it up?
Yes, yes we are. So we're gonna summarize this by saying the gentleman was ready for the red carpet, but the rhythm section and Gretel and Hansel, they are probably just some trailer trash.
Yeah. The rhythm section might surprise us. Who knows? I doubt it, but we'll keep our eyes out. Are you gonna see either of these?
I think I might see the rhythm section. There's no chance in hell I'm seeing Gretel and Hansel, but
That's fair.
I also still have to see Last Full Measure and Bad Boys and The Turning. So there's just so much more going on that
You
is
got a
more
lot.
important to see.
You're getting a backlog. It's just
Yeah, but I also don't have to see them because none of them are like super high on my list.
yeah.
But it's also like the coming weeks aren't very great on the movie wise. So
I guess that's true. And then we're doing the Oscars at some point. That'll come. That episode will be rolling around sometime in February.
oh yeah, that reminds me. R.I.P. to Oscar award winning producer Kobe Bryant, died in a helicopter crash. Really
Oh yeah,
sad.
just today, yesterday. I don't remember
It
time.
was it was yesterday. He and I believe 8 other people, including his 13-year-old daughter, died in the crash. It's really sad.
Yeah, it is.
But
It is.
he won an Oscar for his the documentary, or not documentary, the short film the short animated film, if I can finish speaking. That was an adaptation of a letter he wrote called Dear Basketball.
Awesome. I didn't know that. Go check it out, everybody. Have you seen it?
I have. It
And
was
it
it's
holds up.
literally short enough to where I could watch the entire thing on
Oh,
and I think it's like 3 minutes.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it is not.
Short film.
Yes.
All right, cool stuff. Cool stuff. You have some other podcasts that you should plug.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you want to do that?
Fade the Public. We're starting to transition into college basketball and hockey moving forward. But this week we're going to do a bunch of prop bets for the Super Bowl and also do a Super Bowl pick'em to finish off the playoff mayor's bet that we've been doing for the NFL. And we'll dive a little harder into college basketball while we get our hopes up a little too high for West Virginia basketball.
I don't know how they're looking, and I don't really care. So that's good stuff. Um, are you done? Do you have more? I don't remember where your
There's
other one's
another one.
standing.
It's sort of up in the air about the actual progress being made. The first episode's out. It's called Stereotopical. I think it's on Spotify now. Uh, the availability and times to record for that are a little harder, but because of the subject matter and my co-host for that is a little busier because he's working on a startup. But yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. Leave a review. That sort of stuff.
Do it, like it, do stuff, share stuff. I don't know. I don't. No one gets this far into these episodes. Cool beans, though. This has been Red Carpet to Trailer Trash. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Until next time?